What's up, everybody? It is the best spot, KidSmoove, and I am back with another video. I know oftentimes in podcasts and videos, mostly podcasts, the discussion of exclusives come up very, very often, and it's known, there's no secret about when it comes to Xbox compared to PlayStation and Nintendo, that the exclusive lineup doesn't look as promising. They seem a bit behind. They seem a bit anemic in comparison to what Nintendo's offering or what PlayStation is offering. Some want to comment on the quantity. Some people say the quantity isn't enough, and then some people say the quality isn't enough. I remember people speaking about how the Xbox is not diverse, and due to the lack of Japanese games or different types of games or different types of indies. And I wanted to sit back because me typically, ever since the Xbox allowed the option to pen like your games, I've always penned the exclusive games, only exclusives. Sometimes I'll pen NBA Live or if a game I'm penning there, but I decided to go back and look at all the exclusive that came in. I know I'm probably missing maybe a handful, but I mostly gathered the ones that came out that either released that released over the last 5 years or so for the Xbox One, from launch all the way to now. I was, after looking at them, I'm like, man, this isn't really too bad. You would think, the way people talk about Xbox exclusives or Xbox games, that this is like literally the worst generation, or the worst that they don't have anything. Now you could argue that some of these games, the majority of these games, you do have access to them on the PC via Play Anywhere, or even some via Steam, because they released a little bit later, and some are strictly on the Xbox. But when you look at, I have a list, I think, of maybe 40 games on this list right now. 40 games that came out from launch to now, to even, I think, coming soon. In 2013, the Xbox launch lineup, I think I'm missing Crimson Dragon and Local Cycle, but I wouldn't even count that crap. I'm missing, I know I'm missing those games, but as far as the Xbox exclusive, you had Zoo Tycoon. This was originally released for the Xbox One back in 2013. It wasn't. The remake is, I think, is minus the Kinect features, and is remastered in 4K for the Xbox One X, but I'm not really counting that due to the purpose of it originally launched on the Xbox One. You had Forza Motorsport 5, obviously launch title. You had Dead Rising 3, exclusive to the Xbox One console. Later made its appearance to Steam, I think 6 months later. Rise in Rome, exclusive to the Xbox console. 6 months later, made its way to Steam, I believe. Killer Instinct, obviously, is a Microsoft IP. So that was pretty much 5 games exclusive. This is not counting like third party or stuff that released for it that were there. And I feel like the standouts from that were actually Killer Instinct, and my favorite games were Rise in Rome and Dead Rising 3. I played the crap out of these games when they released. I think Dead Rising 3 scored better, but my favorite game at that point in time was Rise in Rome. People kind of live in this state where I think people didn't appreciate the game then, but now for some reason everybody loves Rise in Rome. It was crap when it released, and people were clowning it for 900p, even though it was clearly the best looking game on any platform at that time. And people, clowned the game for QTEs, even though a lot of these people's favorite games include a lot of QTEs. But now people talk about it in hindsight as if, oh man, it was great. It was okay. I enjoyed the game for obvious reasons, but that was my standout then. Then to kick off the new year, 2014, Titanfall. Now, Titanfall, the original game, was exclusive to the Xbox and PC. It did release later, and I think in April or May, for the Xbox 360 by Bluepoint. They did the 360 version, but Xbox One and PC got the official release in March, I think 11th, 2013. This was a big game. It was fun. I enjoyed Titanfall 1 over Titanfall 2. The only thing I like about Titanfall 2 was its campaign, but obviously we all know Titanfall 2 was a multi-plat. Titanfall 1 was an exclusive to Xbox and PC. It still to this day remains an exclusive for the Xbox console, and PC has not re-released on any other console. Shortly after that, we got Kinect Sports Rivals. This is when Kinect was still kicking. This was okay. It wasn't as good. The other ones that came before was a little bit more kiddie. I feel like this game, for some reason, was aimed towards the adults of the friend. For some reason, like older people, like they kind of had it. The scanning in this one was much better. I still got the scans for me and my girl and my little sister. The Kinect scans were like on point, which is pretty dope. Also that year, we got Dance Central Spotlight. That was also when Kinect was alive, kicking D4, which was, I think, was made by a Japanese based studio. It kind of had like a stealth release. I wasn't really feeling it. That year, we also got Forza Horizon 2, which was like really the big release. One of the first, like, anticipating this. People were trying to was comparing this to Drive Club, or trying to compare Drive Club to Forza Horizon 2, and I feel like Forza Horizon 2 at that point in time when it released, one of the best racing games ever at that point in time, until obviously its successor came out. So 2014 was a good year. This is not even it. And then after Forza Horizon 2, we got Project Spark, which is obviously no longer in service now, but this was like kind of a playground, create your own game types. They remade Conquer in this thing, but that was out. That came out in like, I think maybe early October, late September of 2014. We had Fantasia, another game that was Kinect based. You know, it was a music game. Came out in October of 2014, and then 2 weeks later we got Sunset Overdrive. Was my favorite game that year. Easily my favorite game that year was Sunset Overdrive. Very, very underrated. The graphics were great. The gameplay was smooth. It was tight. The weapons were awesome. This was a new IP by Insomniac Games. It was single player, had multiplayer functions, but the multiplayer function wasn't really that popular because it was more like of a horde mode. It wasn't like this big, huge open world multiplayer blast fest. It was more of like this type of horde mode. And then obviously we had the Master Chief Collection, which was a big release, but unfortunately the game never worked as it should. The campaigns you can play through, but the multiplayer was the big thing. It was very ambitious, featuring all of the Halos. They later included ODST, and it was every game was remastered. From Halo 2 had to receive a great remaster, but everything was at 1080p, 60 frames per second. The game was so ambitious that the game is actually due for a re-release in about another month or so, when it gets a major update. So we'll hear some more news about that. We also and that was it for 2014, which that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was like 9 games that year. Ori and the Blind Forest came out in 2015. This was, received high praise, $20. It was anticipated. It was okay. I've never really enjoyed Ori like that. I thought the game was pretty overrated, but I'm in the minority there. But it was a hit. People enjoyed it. It's still highly touted. People are anticipating the second one. Rare Replay. In 2015, we got a Rare Replay. That was a big deal. Every Rare game. I think how much this thing cost? It was like $30. It was like 30 games for like $30. It's everything from like its Super Nintendo games and onward to even before Super Nintendo, onward to like now and whatnot, which was cool. I played some of it. I played some of the Battletoads and stuff like that. A lot of the games that came out on the 360, I have already experienced and beaten. This was kind of really the ushering of backwards compatibility here. Gears of War Ultimate Edition. This was a remaster of Gears of War 1. I think this was like $30 as well. Remastered 1080p, 60 frames per second. The game looked good. They kept the essence of what the first one bought, but they everything was modernized. It looked good. New motion caps. I believe they added new multiplayer maps and modes to the Ultimate Edition. Obviously, Forza 6 was a nice racer there, but people still couldn't get over Forza Horizon 2 during that year. For Forza 6 was good, just wasn't really popular, and that was, I believe that was really no. This was also because we got Gears Ultimate and Halo 5 the same year. Halo 5 came out October 28th, I believe, or October 28th, 2015. One of my favorite Halos since Halo 3, as far as multiplayer, the most balanced multiplayer you're gonna get. People kind of gave this game slight for its campaign. People try to say this was the worst Halo, and I find that hard to believe. And I think people want to say it has a bad campaign. The campaign actually, in no issue, was a bad campaign. The problem with the campaign, it focused too much on lock, and that's not whether the game is good or bad. Which I don't understand how that reflects on any review score. And the game wasn't this big epic fight between Master Chief and Locke as the advertisement suggested, and I think that's what turned people off. But for some reason, this game is touted as is bad. It's one of the best multiplayer Halos you're going to experience. The campaign was very dope. It was action packed. It just wasn't what was advertised, and I don't think what you play and plus what you're anticipating should reflect on what the score is, because there's people who play it for the first time who didn't really follow any advertisement. They'll play the game and enjoy the game and be like, damn, they told me this game was bad. And I think that's the problem with that. Also that year, Rise of the Tomb Raider was an exclusive to the Xbox One console and Xbox 360 for that brief time that it came out, November of 2015. It would later appear on PC, I think in like January or February, and then later, a year later, on the PlayStation 4. And then 2016 came. Microsoft released Oxenfree. This is available on Xbox and PC. Little indie title. It got high praise, very emotional. It's one of those, I don't have any experience in it. I've downloaded it, I just haven't bothered to play it just yet, but I know just looking at like for Metacritics and the reactions to it, it was very it's considered good. I couldn't tell you. Then the most anticipated Quantum Break has came out. It was mixed reactions. Some people didn't care about the live shows, the live shows in between. It wasn't live, but the shows in between cutscenes. Some people said they should have just went directly with cutscenes. I enjoyed the little cheap episodes that came out. I watched it. It helped me get a full glimpse of the story. The game itself, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I beat it twice. I beat it on my Xbox, and I beat it on the hardest. I beat it first on the hardest difficulty on my Xbox, and then I played it again on PC and ran through it again. Very underrated. People try to clown Quantum Break for its looks, and it was one of the best looking games that year. I think the only issue really graphically with it was the resolution. It wasn't like a 1080p image. It was like 792 or 720p. It was using reconstruction, but the game itself looked good. And this is when people pretend that resolution itself is graphics. And people used to use this screenshot of like I don't know what it was. It's like when the texture is loaded in or something like that. They got this one screenshot and they try to pass it off as that this is what the whole game looks like, and that wasn't true. Very great game, got mixed reviews. It was one of my favorite games that year. Then we got the remaster of State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition that came out, and we got this game, and I think shortly after, State of Decay 2 was announced. Recore came out that September. It was like $30 as well. People had mixed reactions about this. It was a single player based game like Quantum Break. It was a single player new IP. They since re-released it. It launched with like some bugs. The loading was horrible. It was long loading times. But as far as the game itself, me personally, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's no classic. It's not game of the year, but it gave me it was actually, it was quite difficult, but it gave me the same feeling cameo elements Apara gave me. Very unpopular, but I enjoyed my time with it. It was I think they got something with it. They can grow from it. They can push Recore forward, and if they do it right next time, they can have a hit on their hands. Forza Horizon 3, we all know the story about what happened with that. Greatest racing game of all time, especially one of the greatest racing games of in the last 10 years. There's nothing comes close. Forza Horizon 3 was a beast. It's just such freedom with this game, and this game is probably still like $50-$60. That's how good these games are. Gears of War 4. Most anticipated. We all been anticipating Gears of War 4. It's here. New characters. Marcus Phoenix's son. Campaign. I enjoyed. Multiplayer. Nice and tight. But once again, people for some reason are, I guess, Gears of War fatigued. People struggle to find flaws with the game, but yet it's considered one of the worst Gears of Wars. The worst Gears of War game that ever released was Judgment. Gears of War 4 in the franchise. Gears of War 4 is my second favorite Gears of War behind Gears of War 2. And I think Gears of War 2 was the worst running Gears of War due to its online glitches they had. And I enjoyed Gears of War 3, but I just had more fun on Gears of War 2. So Gears of War 4 it's my second favorite one. That release, boom, it was a banger, right? And then to close out the year, we had Dead Rising 4. It is now a multi-plat, but at the time when it released, it was exclusive to Xbox. To start off 2017, now this is what you're seeing now. Right, 2017 was considered the worst year for Xbox exclusive wise, content wise, right? And as you can see, for the 2017 pretty much starts from here, right? So we start off with Halo Wars, the definitive edition, right? That was a remaster of the original one that came out. You got it with a pre-order, and I don't know if they sold it separately, but Halo Wars 2 obviously kicked off the year. It came out, it came out right around Horizon Zero Dawn and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Went under the radar. It's a RTS. It was a good RTS, but people, it's an RTS, so no, I think it got lower scores by default because it's like whatever, but it released. It was good, and it actually segues away into Halo 6. But you won't know that unless you play it. Voodoo Vents, this game got clowned. It was a remaster of the original Xbox game, platforming. I didn't finish it. I played through a good amount of it, didn't finish it. I think it's cool. I might revisit it pretty soon, but people was like, that's not a retail exclusive, and it drove the narrative of Xbox don't have no games. And then Phantom Dust finally came. This shit was trash. It's a free to play with microtransactions, but it still has the original Xbox assets. And I mean, I played it just to play it, and I haven't touched it since. Gigantic. Now this game's been through so much. It's first was in beta, then it went to game preview, officially releasing in July of 2017. It's one of me and Gaming Addict's favorite games to play. We haven't played it in a little bit, but it does have a lot to offer. Hopefully the studio, the publisher, survives and this game can continue to be supported. It is a great game. I like to play it whenever everybody's down to play. Cuphead, instant classic. Instant classic. It was a tough game. It was the Xbox version of Dark Souls, and it made me rage a lot. But it was very good. It brought the community together. People were buying it from their PCs just so they can slight Xbox. They were buying it for their PCs, and Xbox gamers bought it, PC gamers bought it, and everybody talked about it. It was the talk of the month. And then it was time for the Xbox One X to launch, and we got games like Disneyland Adventures and Pixar's Rush, Forza Motorsport 7, which also came out. Actually, I need to move this over here because I think Forza 7 came out before these games. Yes. So Forza 7, the big thing about this game is that, or at least for the Xbox One X, 4K 60 uncompromised. That's it. It looks good, dog. It looks freaking good. It looks amazing. Disneyland Adventure and Rush. This is where people just really started laughing at Xbox, but hey, it's whatever. And then obviously Super Lucky's Tales, which people were just pissed off that it's not Conquer. Shout out to Jez. And then to close out the year, they had PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds exclusive to Xbox game preview right now. This game's available on Xbox, PC and mobile phones. Right now, nothing for PlayStation, but they're expected to have it. But I include this because at the time it released, it was exclusive to this console, like I did with Dead Rising and like I did with Rise of the Tomb Raider. And now we are in 2018. CFD's kicked off the year. So far, I'm enjoying it. And shortly after, we have State of Decay 2, and then we don't know from there on. It's supposed to be Crackdown, it's supposed to be Forza Horizon 4, it's supposed to be another surprise here and there. But looking at this is a list of 40 games. This is an average of about 8 games a year, and even 2017 was considered one of the worst years. It actually is on par. It was on par with almost 2014, which was the other year that had the most games. I believe 2016 was pretty big. This whole row is 2016. Yeah, this whole actually no. 2016 wasn't that big. So 2017 is from Halo Wars to PUBG, and 2014 is from Titanfall to Master Chief Collection, and then you have 2015 and 2016. I was more impressed with 2016 because I enjoyed those titles more. 2014 was dope. I had 3 games from 2014 I enjoyed: Titanfall, Forza Horizon 2, Sunset Overdrive. 2015 it was just Halo 5 and Tomb Raider that I very loved. And then 2016, I love Quantum Break. I love Gears of War 4. I enjoyed Recore. I didn't have a problem with 2016's lineup at all. In 2017, obviously by these titles, Cuphead was obviously a standout, and Forza 7 is Forza, and everything else was kind of like, I don't know. But what do you guys think? The state of Xbox exclusive. I mean, is it really as bad as it seems? I mean, these were all, I feel like, a nice quality, diverse lineup. And one thing people will fail to tell you about Xbox One is that they first said it wasn't no diversity. When you look at all, that's diversity. Diversity to me. You have shooters. You have side scrollers. You have your indies. You have open world games. You have simulators. You have RTSs. You have RPGs. The other thing that people said about this game is that reason why Xbox is struggling because they don't have dedicated single player experiences or story driven games. All their games are games as a service. If you notice, all the brand new IPs that came out on the Xbox One, these were all actual, with the exception of Titanfall. All the other games, and obviously Sea of Thieves now, with the exception of Titanfall and Sea of Thieves, all the other new games are actually single-player focused or story-driven games. Which Rise Son of Rome, the multiplayer was an afterthought, an add-on. Sunset Overdrive, multiplayer was like more of an add-on. It wasn't a big part of the game. You have Quantum Break, single player only. Recourse, single player only. A lot of these were actual single player experiences. They're new titles. Cuphead is couch co-op. That's the only form of multiplayer is couch co-op. So, Super Lucky's Tales, I don't know if multiplayer is in that game. So, to say that it was honestly. It was a wrong assumption people made, and people ran with it and forget that all the new IPs that came out for the Xbox One were actually single player experiences. But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you think of this video in the comment section below. Xbox is the best box, and I am the best bot. Good night or good morning if you're on my side of the globe. All right, peace.